it has positive, memorable features. For me, the positive, memorable features being really nice fruit and candy rye MGP-ness.
Nice. Welcome once again to Chill Filter, the podcast where we drink whiskey so you don't have to, but you probably should. Hey, you probably are. That's why we like you. We like you for a lot of other reasons, though, in case you're a little insecure today. Let's talk about some business. Hey, hit us up. We have a meetup this month in October. Hey, hit us up if you're not on our Patreon and you're really interested in joining in on some festivities. It's going to be in Phoenix. So please hit us up on Instagram or reach out to us at chillfilteredpodcast@gmail.com. That's the business for this week. Brian, I know you're an excited dad right now. I want to hear all about it.
I know. So, it was great until it wasn't great anymore. We had a fun errand to run today. We went out. Sam needed to meet somebody from work to hand something off, and so the agreed upon meeting place was a place where we frequently like to go, which is Pottery Barn.
Nice.
Home decor store.
In Santan? Where's that?
No, it's all the way over in Chandler. So it was a bit of a haul.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So like we made a whole deal out of it, and we were like, oh, let's take Emma to Pottery Barn, and it timed well, between like naps and food and getting ready and getting out the door, and everything was all nice and everything. And we got all the way to Pottery Barn, and she was chill, she was cool. Pushed her around, no big deal. Nice. And we're headed back, and it's kind of like nap time, starting to get a little fussy maybe, but whatever. Grab some food on the way home, and so she's like kind of barely hanging in there by the time we get home. And so we're trying to like eat our food and like put her down, and like you take a couple bites while I hold her, and then you can go put her down while I eat a little bit and everything. And gosh, that was about 2 hours ago, maybe 2.5 hours ago. She just fell asleep about 5 minutes.
Goodness. I hate when that happens. I still remember that.
Genuinely, I believe that this is the longest stretch she's been awake in her entire life.
Wow. That's crazy.
We've been trying to put her to sleep for like 2 hours, and it's just been insane. We've tried.
Has she been like fussy and crying the whole time too?
Yes. Fussy and crying the whole time, and so multiple
love you,
rooms,
Emma, but that's the worst.
Multiple noise making devices, multiple rooms, multiple parents holding her. Just tried everything, and then finally Sam crushed it in the end. So she is drinking a stiff rum old fashioned right now.
Two questions. Well, no, one's a story, one's a question. But one time the first like overnight stay we had with Gray. No, that's not the first overnight, but it was we had a road trip, visited my friend in Raleigh area, North Carolina. So we drove down, and then that night Beck fell asleep, but Gray didn't, and we were all in the same room, like their guest room, my friend's guest room. And Gray was not having it. And she was just seeing mommy across the room. And she's just like, I could be there with her right now. And she just wouldn't fall asleep. And so it got to the point where we're in my friend's home and this baby is crying. We're like, all right, it's not just us. Like, this is their family is suffering now too. It took us like an hour plus. And then finally I was like, you know what? I'm going to drive you around. So I got downstairs, unlocked their front door, went in the car, drove for less than 5 minutes, and she's out for the rest of the night. So
nice.
Yeah.
Good.
So we figured it out, but it was painful in the meantime, especially with her crying the whole time. It's just like, oh. And then the worst part was she did fall asleep for a moment, and then Beck woke her up somehow. And it was like, and but my other question is, did you ever get to go to the Green Corner in Phoenix area?
I'm Googling that right now, but the answer is no.
Better look it up.
What am I about to see
you
here?
go before Emma was born. The Greek place.
Wait, dude, did I say that we grabbed Greek food, or did I just say we grabbed food on the way home?
Oh, from the hospital?
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, from today.
Well, I know why you said that, because you were recommending that on the way home from the hospital. But today, coincidentally, we did grab Greek food. There's this brand new place,
the Green Corner.
Nope. But actually, now that you mention it, damn, we were right there. We could have got the Green Corner. Yeah.
Wait, you were down like Ocotillo or the one in Mesa?
Ocotillo, we were at the Chandler Mall, so
Totally, yeah.
we drove by the highway. We were only 2 miles away from Green Corner.
Love that place. Miss it.
Gotta
Hey, maybe
remember.
we'll go when I visit. But there
Yeah,
will be a lot of
actually.
salad and go too.
That's true. Yeah. Well, those will be
Yeah.
salad and go will be easy because we'll be, like one of
Yeah.
the mornings we'll go from store to store. I'll take
Yep.
you to Trevor's and stuff too and
Yeah.
everything. We can hit salad and go, and that'll
And
be
well, we
convenient.
should actually meet you and I almost forgot your wife's name, but I know it's Sam.
Yeah.
But I was like, me, you, and Emma. No, not Emma. And so, but
No,
yeah, me, you,
Emma's
Emma,
never leaving the
and
house again.
Sam. Yeah, that's true.
Never ever.
We should go to Green Corner together while we're in
Yes.
Pajonix.
Sounds good.
Dude, it's such good food.
We will leave Emma at home and we'll all go to Green Corner. Yeah.
Just give her some like bottles of milk and changes of diapers near her.
Yeah.
She'll be good.
She'll be fine. She'll be fine.
Did you hear? This isn't even funny. Like, that's funny. Don't get me wrong. But there was like a woman who like went on a 3-day vacation without her baby, left like a bunch of random like foods and like expected her kid to survive. Didn't survive, for the record.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yikes. No.
crazy.
Okay.
But I'm sure that happens like a lot, actually.
Yeah, actually.
Then some kids survive and they just don't, suffer the consequences. That's
fine.
Crazy,
we'll take Emma to Green Corner. Fine.
Yeah.
Sure.
She's gonna love it. And the baklava. She loves baklava.
Right. Yeah, babies can eat hummus, right? It's just a pile of goo.
Hey, is she eating solids yet? Or like,
no,
not solids, but like, not milk.
I don't know that. I'm not sure if we can do that yet, but
what is she, 4 or 5 months?
She just turned 3. Actually, she's 3 months and a week or so.
So long ago. I'm sure for you too, dude. My first year with Beck felt like the longest year of my whole stinking life.
Wow. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, everybody says it goes so fast, but
no, not the first year. It does go since then, but the first year was like, it has been like 3 years since this baby was born. That's what it felt like, at least.
Yeah. We take a lot of cues from Katie and Curtis here because they're a couple months ahead of us.
Nice.
And Reed just started solids. So
yeah, he who shall not be named. Although we discovered that we can name his name.
We did get approval to name drop.
Yeah, that's good. Shout out to the WWWYC. Probably shouldn't have said their last name now, but whatever.
Well, maybe we'll bleep. I don't know.
Yeah.
They will be at the meetup on October 25th, Friday, whatever the Friday is. It's definitely Friday, 4 p.m. Be there, be square.
Be there, be
or
square.
Be square. Be there and be square if you want. I mean, we don't care.
Well, technically, in logic, like in pure logic, or could mean end as well. So
okay, all right.
Or is it end can mean or? No, end doesn't mean or. End means both, or means one or the other or both. Theoretically,
do not remember. I don't have any tattoos featuring that logic principle. So
no, I got what Damore's laws on my arm. No, I'm kidding. Is it Damore? No, it's like de something.
Sounds like you should have tattooed it on your arm.
Yeah, exactly. De Morgan, that's what it is. I just thought of it. De Morgan's laws.
Captain De Morgan. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of dark rums.
yeah. I know, right? But yeah, Sam's got a plantation OFTD old fashioned in her hand.
You know who introduced me to that? The one and only Ben Klepsig told me about it. He sent me a sample, and I was like, "This is incredible." And like Plantation does it really well. Even their standard aged rum, non 90 or 69 proof, nice. Does a great job.
Percent. Yeah. Right, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hot. Very hot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, what are you entry buzzing on?
I am so Mizunara. I was like, what do I have that's Mizunara? And my most recent Mizunara acquisition here was from a buddy who was like, hey, I've got this. I don't really want it. It might be up your alley. It is a Kaio Japanese whiskey,
but not the peated.
It's a correct, not the peated. It's a Kaio single barrel. So I'm not sure how like common these single barrels are, but I've never seen a Kaio single barrel pick before. But this was aged in Mizunara oaks, and then it was finished in XPX and Oloroso sherry barrels. I don't know if that was like a. Oh, wait, actually, I do know. Right here on the bottle, it says Japanese Mizunara oak, and then it says transferred to PX sherry, and then it says transferred to Oloroso sherry. So this is Mizunara and then 2 sherries after.
Why would you do Mizunara and then finish it more with sherry?
They might have needed to.
Yeah.
I will say there's nothing particularly like rich and decadent about this as you would have expected with all those finishes.
From a double sherry finished.
Yeah, it's good. It's got proof though. They didn't water it down. I think it's like 54% or so.
For Japanese. It's pretty great.
Yeah. But it does not have as developed thick richness as I would have liked. But I am gonna add a little water to it. I think that might help. But what are you entry buzzing on? What you got?
Well, first I'll say this is that Bryce will understand this, but that whiskey just reminds me of Bryce. First it's Japanese, and then it's Kayo, and then he'll know what the third thing is. But I won't dox him.
Okay, all right.
Because it is a little close to his heart. So he'll know exactly what I mean. Because I think it was it wasn't Hayo. It was Bryson. No, it was Glengoyne. That was what it was. But still, he'll still appreciate the third thing. But I think he'll appreciate it all, knowing Bryce Marita.
So. I put a little water in there, and the sherry comes out huge. It's like juicy red.
No Mizunara for sure.
Yeah,
still not so subtle that you're like, why would you do that?
Yeah, it's still not great, but tons of sherry now. And by the way, last time I pulled up the Instagram chat with Bryce Marita, you had just said like Glengoyne recently. It was like in the recent chats just right there. Funny. I was like, oh yeah.
So I am entry buzzing on, and we'll discuss why this is important, a Wild Turkey product. Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirit. Single barrel, 101 proof. That's also important. Bottled on 3222, 32 of 22.
Nice.
So yeah, we'll get into some of the history in a moment, but some of the history has to do with Wild Turkey today, even though we're not drinking a Wild Turkey product in any way today. But we'll get into that. But
nice.
You excited for well, we're doing a drink along tomorrow. By the time this episode comes out, it'll be in the past.
Yesterday. So we had a great drink along yesterday.
Great drink along. Yeah. That one guy that interrupted all the time, he wasn't that big a deal. No, I'm kidding. I don't even know what the worst thing that could happen would be. Yeah. I guess we
which what is it? What are we drinking?
We're drinking
again?
The Old Forester single barrel proof rye. Single barrel.
Very good. Very good. Rye. Good stuff. You remember when we pulled that on Reentry Buzz? It was, of course, it was a different batch, but yeah, we were both,
and I
100% convinced it was a bourbon.
Yes, but I call it Old Forester, right?
You did actually. Yeah, you did. Yeah,
but I thought it was a bourbon easily.
Yeah, easily. Yeah, I know, right? It's so like heavy.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that'll be fun to do tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm stoked about this upcoming meetup. So also, I'm gonna say this right now. I don't know why I'm putting up L's. But I'm gonna say this right now. We know not everyone can make every event we're doing. We would love it if people could show up, as many people could show up to as many things as possible. But I'll tell you this, I'm really excited for the bottle share as well. I mean, of course, I'm excited for the barrel pick. But the bottle share, like I'm bringing a 1980 Jim Beam decanter that has not been opened yet. So like that kind of stuff is what dreams are made of in the unicorn / dusty world. So maybe I'll bring something else unicorny or something like that.
Nice.
Maybe I'll bring my seasoned wood. I'm probably not going to do that, but I could.
Maybe. Teaser.
Teaser. Yeah.
See how many people show up, and then when they hear you didn't bring seasoned wood,
maybe I'll bring it, and if 50 people show up, I will crack it or something like that.
And then everybody gets 2 sips.
Yeah, exactly. 2 sips. But we'll have it and enjoy it together.
Yeah. Speaking of having things and enjoying them together, did you see this right here?
It's beautiful. A nice orange reddish label on that thing. Yeah.
I know. You can tell by the shape. You can tell by the shape and the red label right there that it is a Jack Daniel's Coy Hill.
Yeah. You could tell it is by the way that it is.
Yes, definitely.
You ever see that? You know what I'm referring
no.
to?
I
Oh,
mean,
you
I've
would
heard
love
people
it.
say that, but
it is this video on YouTube, which is very worth watching. Maybe we'll post it on the Discord, but it's called Nature Walks, and this guy is like talking about nature and how it's neat, and he's like, I like to call it Nature Walks because it's neat, and it's kind of fake. You can tell it's fake, but it's really well done.
yeah.
But then there's this point where he comes up to this tree and he's like, you see this tree right here? This is an aspen. You can tell it is by the way that it is. It's just like that kind of stuff.
What I should have guessed is that it was Reggie Watts, because that just sounds
Oh
like
yeah, he would totally say
like
something like that.
Reggie
But he would
Watts
make it
joke.
sound even more depthful, like
Yeah,
more, sound
like
like
there's
it
more
makes a lot
knowledge
more
in there,
sense. Yeah,
except there's
exactly.
no more knowledge in there.
He's like the topography of our lives. But anyway,
so eloquent. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Friday, I was shaking all the bushes on Friday because I caught wind that maybe it might be E.H. Taylor barrel proof rye time. Yeah,
Hot,
and that
hot
is
darn.
yeah, I know, right? It is definitely showing up in California.
Okay.
I've seen tons of pictures of people in California seeing it, and I'm like, Arizona
Dude,
is
what would
right
I
there
do
next
for
to
that?
California.
Oh,
So anyway, I was shaking the bushes on E.H. Taylor barrel proof rye, and so I was out and about, and I was, all over Facebook and everything. Of course, I had to work like a normal Friday,
yeah.
but I was seeing that Coy Hill is like right when Total Wines were opening, people were posting Coy Hills and saying, "Oh, it's at this Total Wine, it's at that Total Wine." It sounds like it was basically at every single Total Wine except Queen Creek. Yeah. So Queen Creek, there's sometimes the truck is just late. I don't know. So Brian Duncan hung around for it and basically just
Baller.
let me know when it seemed like it was going to be coming soon. So I was able to swing over there. I had to hang out for about 30, 45 minutes, but
Worth it.
ended up being able to snag one.
So what do you do? Like, so like you see the truck there. Do you just bother them and say, "Hey, can I get whatever's on the truck?" Or do you like wait in a certain area? Or like,
So
tell me.
yeah. You have to have just bothered them enough to not actually bother them, that they know that
Yeah.
that's why you're there. And
Yeah.
then if you hang by close, they will
To the desk?
to the
Okay, cool.
in the bourbon aisle, or
Okay.
keeping an eye on the customer service desk or whatever.
Mhm.
That's how it used to be, actually. But
Mhm.
nowadays, like, we've developed enough of a
They
rapport.
know who you are.
Yeah, and they will gladly, like, when they see Brian Duncan there, they will wheel the cart straight to Brian Duncan and be
Nice.
like, "Hey, we know this is why you're here."
They don't even open the box until they get to Brian. Like, they're like,
Pretty
"Here,
much.
pull out the
Yep,
box cutter in front of you."
pretty much. And of course, I've shouted out Brian several times, but also shout out to David Lipinski, who was hanging out at Queen Creek basically for me. Uh,
Wow.
David
Baller.
David David picked one up at Gilbert, and then
Nice.
after Gilbert, he went down to Queen Creek to hang out with Brian, and he was like,
Nice.
"Yeah, if I get one, I'll just give it to you, me."
Nice.
And so
And
he
then you
waited there
got your own.
for
So
a
did he get
while.
2?
No, he ended up having to leave. By the time
Mm.
I was getting there, he was like, "Yeah, I gotta go. I've waited around here for too long." So
Yeah. I miss those
but
days of just chilling
honorary
at the
shout out.
Total Wine on work hours. You'll make up the work later.
Well, so you remember I was telling you how I had like
Mhm.
work stuff and it was crazy, and I worked
Yeah.
till 9 p.m. that one night. I basically only had to work like 4.5 hours on Friday in order
Nice.
to hit like my full like 2-week quota. So I
Nice.
ended up not needing to. I ended up being able to swing out to Total Wine on Friday.
Nice. Dude, something happened to me at work recently. This is just random. Um, so there's things in insurance. When you're an actuary, you put in what's called a rate filing. And that is, so in the standard market of insurance, you have to get your rates and changes approved by the Department of Insurance for every state. And so if you want to slightly change rates, or you want to mix things up in terms of like, hey, your variables. So I'll just say it really quick. Example of a variable is gender.
Mhm.
Men are typically worse drivers than women in general. So the rate factor for a man is slightly higher than a rate factor for a woman. If we were to change that, we have to send that in to the Department of Insurance for every state, and they have to approve it.
Yeah.
Very simple. But they will send in what's called, the Department of Insurance will send us something they call objections. Very simple. It's basically saying, hey, answer this question before we approve it. Or potentially, hey, we're not okay with it. You need to change everything. Totally understandable in that way. So I am traveling on business. I go to the headquarters, spend a few days there. It was actually a really great experience. Got to meet some coworkers and hang out with them for a few days, which is always good. I get to do it once a quarter. If not, I get to choose, but I like to do it about once a quarter or so. And so I was on the flight back and I had a layover in Charlotte, and I get right before I leave the office on Thursday, before I fly home, I get a objection, and objections suck because you got to sometimes be really, really on top of them in order to respond to them. And so it was like right before I left, and I was like, oh, do I have to deal with this? And I was like already lining up people of like, and then the worst part was I was off that Friday because my family was in town. So I was like, I got to take care of this, and I got to make sure someone else takes care of it. And I was like, I'm probably going to take care of this myself. And so I like got all the information together, sent the objection back to the DOI, the Department of Insurance, at like 10:30 p.m. while I was in Charlotte layover. And the funny thing was, I was kind of just bored. And I was like, I better just take care of this now so I don't have to deal with it tomorrow when my parents are in town. And so I took care of it. And everyone was like praising me. They're like, this guy was on his way home to his family, his daughters and wife, and he puts in this final like moment objection response, and it was a good response, like everything like that. And like, I got like my company does this thing where like if you get nominated for like a big deal, thing, they'll give you money towards like gifts and stuff like that. Like you can spend your
nice.
on something. And I like looked it up, and I was like, dude, the points I got were like $100 worth of like, you can buy things that are about $100. So someone nominated me, and I like got a great, thing. And I basically like, I felt bad because I was like, I kind of just took care of it because the layover got extended. But people were stoked about it. And so it felt good at work. And I finally feel like I'm like hitting a stride at my job now. I've been there for a year, and I finally feel like I'm like, hitting a good stride. So that feels good.
That's awesome.
Don't always feel that way.
Right. Yeah.
So, but we're going long. Why don't we close it up for the Shootin the Breeze? We'll send it to a quick break, and on the break, or after the break, we'll talk about David Jennings, Raconteur Rye, and Rarebird 101. So let's go real quick to break. We'll be right back. And we're back. What a nice break. Real quick, we've talked about this a few times. Notes to get to before getting into the history. Chill Filtered meetup coming up. We already mentioned it earlier. If you want to be a part of it, hit us up on Instagram or chillfilteredpodcast@gmail.com. But if you're already signed up, we're stoked to have you join. So thank you. We got some great activities coming up, including a barrel pick and a bottle share and a bunch of other fun stuff. So we're going to talk today about
if you're a patron and you haven't told us yet that you're coming and you want to come, you need to tell us ASAP, because now that it's October and the deadline is passed, seats are open to non-patrons now. So
so you got to beat them.
Hurry up
to the punch. Yep. Other quick thing, a big thanks to David Jennings, Rarebird 101 himself, for sharing the sample that we're drinking today for Raconteur Rye. We've never featured a Raconteur Rye yet on the podcast. This is a first, and it comes with fresh history. So when you think of Raconteur, what do you even think of, Brian?
You know what I think of? I think of the Raconteurs.
Yep, with Jack White, his side band.
It's literally the only time in my life Yeah, there you go. The only time in my life I've ever heard that word is
Me too.
the
I don't even know what the
Raconteurs.
word means. I could look it up right now, but I don't
Yeah.
want to. It's probably like
Okay,
a
I will.
derelict or something. No, I'm kidding. It's like one of those words where you're like, I bet that doesn't mean a good guy. Anyway, it's probably a good guy. I'm gonna look it up.
Raconteur is someone who is skilled at telling stories in an interesting and amusing way.
That's really fitting, actually, of what we're talking about today. So I
Very
appreciate
cool.
that. There's a guy with a pretty cool blog that's been around for a while. His name is David Jennings, and his blog is Rare Bird 101. He's been blogging since 2016, and you can check out his website at rarebird101.com. But as you may have guessed, maybe not though, he's a big writer when it comes to Wild Turkey Distillery. When you think about it, Wild Turkey 101. I mean, heck, this is a 101 proof. The Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirit, single barrel. It's a 101 proof, but he's big on Wild Turkey Distillery and its whiskeys. He's definitely a Wild Turkey fan. And his blog is dedicated to the background and the products of Wild Turkey. He's even written a book or two. Most recently, in 2020, he published, not most recently, his first book, rather, he published in 2020 was American Spirit, Wild Turkey Bourbon from Rippy to Russell. And then in 2023, last year, he published Wild Turkey Musings, a whiskey writer's retrospective. Anyway, he's definitely even what I would consider a historian on the topic. He's not just like a big fanboy. He's a historian. Really cool guy, this David Jennings. But earlier this year, he decided to get together with a company called Woodwork Collective and bottle a rye whiskey. Now, I had to look up Woodwork Collective because I had no idea what it was. Have you ever heard of this?
Nope.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, though. If you look up their website, it's a company / group of whiskey enthusiasts that basically act like American whiskey independent bottlers. They just to put it simply, it's not exactly that, but they take sourced whiskey, do special finishes and stuff like that to produce really cool looking options. I only say looking because I haven't tasted it yet. And some whiskeys ranging from $70 a bottle to $1,000 a bottle. One branding that I saw on their website was A. Altschuler, which is usually like bourbons and ryes. I think I saw. Mostly look like single barrels from their website, but really cool stuff that they're putting out at Woodwork Collective. But anyways, the Woodwork Collective, based out of Louisville, started working with David Jennings in 2023. The first batch of Raconteur Rye that they made together was a blend of 3 95.5 Indiana rye whiskeys. So, okay, I don't want to sound stupid here, but it's not stupid. It's not stupid. There's no stupid questions. When they say 95.5 rye, is that 95% rye, 95 or 5% malted rye, or is that malted barley?
Malted barley.
I thought so, but I've even seen some ryes that are 95% rye, 5% malted rye.
Are they from Indiana?
I don't know, but yeah, when you talk about the MGP mash bill, it's got to be barley then. Okay, cool. But no, the thing I was thinking of was I don't know what the percentage was, but some malted ryes are like, yeah, certain percentage rye and then certain percentage malted rye. Like New Riff makes a malted rye.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
And so yeah, the first batch was 95.5 Indiana rye whiskeys, each aged for at least 7 years, and then these include straight rye whiskey aged in new charred oak. There was some that was straight rye whiskey aged in 48-month cured toasted oak barrel, which there's something to say there. So normally staves are cured for I want to say like 6 to 12 months for whiskey barrels. One of the cool things I learned when we did the episode for cured oak, E.H. Taylor cured oak, was that cured oak was aged 18 months. I've even heard of certain barrels being cured, like the staves being cured for 24 months. I have never heard of this high a year or a month aged or cured staves. So that's kind of cool. There's got to be something special there. And
so
people people will claim that like Cured Oak, the E.H. Taylor batch is like one of the. It was okay. I mean, it was good. Don't get me wrong. It was very good, but it wasn't the best whiskey I ever had. Which I've heard some people in the whiskey community say that was like my boss at the bar that I used to work at said that was his favorite whiskey ever at the time was Cured Oak, which was good. Don't get me wrong. It's not a bad whiskey, but it wasn't my like top blow my mind. It was only 1 year later that the Seasoned Wood came out. But anyway, we're talking curing staves, and there can be a lot that goes into like curing staves. But yeah, I've never heard of something cured for 48 months, which is crazy.
48. Okay, cool.
And that 48-month cured stave barrel was toasted. And they also, the third component, so there was one that was just new charred oak, there was one that was 48-month cured toasted oak barrel, and then the third was straight rye finished in a second fill Mizunara oak cask. And from what I read, I believe the first fill Mizunara oak cask was a 17-year bourbon. So that's something, I guess.
Nice.
And so that the first batch was bottled at 124.48 proof. Apparently, it did really well. People loved it, and that was only followed up. So that came out in May. Apparently, the batch 1. So we're already on batch 2. And people loved it so much that he's like, we got to do another. From what I've read, at least according to their website, the blend is very similar. We're dealing with the 3 components the same: the Mizunara, the 48-month cured stave barrel that was toasted, and then just a standard charred barrel finish. They're all straight ryes rather. This one is slightly higher proof though. So here's what we're drinking today: Raconteur Rye. Hey, show it off on your cool camera.
Yeah, here's the sample bottle.
Shout out again, and a baller shout out to David Jennings. Oh, this is not good for that. I think it's because it's got a crack in it. There we go. To David Jennings, what a baller. Sending that over. So a rye blend, like we mentioned, from Indiana. Imagine, I mean, there's no way it's not MGP if it's a 95.5 rye. But it is from Indiana, according to their stuff. Now, this one's a slightly higher proof. This one's 122.74. There were only apparently...
Did you say the first one was 124 proof?
Or no, 120.48.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'm with you. Cool.
And then only about 1,000 bottles apparently from this release, according to their website.
Wow.
Finishing period was 9 months, and I believe that was the Mizunara. And you can find it if it's not already sold out at Bourbon Outfitter, Seal Box, box full of seals, and Prime Barrel. At least, like I said, this is not sold out yet.
I would like to clarify one thing, or maybe you said this and maybe I was just thinking about something else at the time, but it must be said. It must be said if it was not said. There were those 3 different blend components, and then they were married together in a finishing barrel, in a Mizunara barrel, right?
I don't know the answer to that. Based on what I read,
good.
It did seem like it, but it also didn't. But I want to just be clear. It did say finishing period 9 months. So I want to say you're right. It was all blended together. But when you read it on their other website, it was said like 3 components. And one of the components was finished. So, but I want to say they were all finished, but I might be wrong. But yeah, David Jennings, hit us up on Instagram or whatever and let us know when you listen.
I do quite believe. I will verify by the end of this episode, but I believe that all 3 components were married together and then finished again in Mizunara, and then boom, now here we are.
That might be the case. They might have all been. One of them might have been finished and then refinished too.
That is definitely how it was, because the third component was. Yeah, the third component was finished in a Mizunara cask, the second fill, like you said, and then after all 3 components were,
yeah. Okay, cool. Total Wine price, you can't really find it at Total Wine, but it is $130 a bottle. Shout out again to David. I don't got any good dingers today. Come on.
Oh, that was so sad. Oh, that was the worst ding ever, man.
All right, I'm gonna give it a nice cork pop, and by cork pop I mean crack of the seal.
Nice. Yeah, seal cracks.
Seal box. There you go. It's like a box full of cracks. Or no, that's not how it works. Box or a crack full of seals.
Oh Lord.
Butt crack full of seals.
There we go. Knew you couldn't resist.
All right, this is kind of nice darkness. Okay, so I'm gonna say it. I held up our two latest samples, and this one's darker than Found North, the batch 10. Have you gotten your Found North yet? Nice. Shout out to those ballers over at Found North.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. Okay, I do want to preface the tasting thing that my taste is a lot better, but I would say I'm 80% now, as opposed to like last time where I basically everything tasted the same. So take my review with a grain of salt. And nose is the same way, 80% nose. Yeah.
There you go. I'm thinking like rye spice here, plenty of rye spice, but it is subdued by with a kind of maple, not quite syrupy, but a caramely, mapley kind of undertones here in conjunction with the rye spice.
Junction.
What's your food?
I don't feel strong about this nose, so I take it even more with a grain of salt. But I do get a little bit of baking spices. I do get I don't get a candy note on the rye. That's all I can say. But it might be there. I just might not be picking it up.
Yeah.
On and the like nose, we'll see what the palate goes.
Those rye spices on the nose, they venture into almost into like pepper territory. Not in an unpleasant way, but it is just pungent. It's punchy there with spicy, lightly peppery, and it's also a little dusty too. Like it smells like it's older. It definitely smells older to me.
On the palate, it's got a slight candiness, but it's also pretty proofy, more proofy than I thought it would be. In terms of a kick, but then again, that just might be my palate right now.
I think that I've had 2 sips now. This is just the epitome of MGP rye to me. This is it has plenty of candiness there. It's I think predominantly this is a candy rye to me.
Yeah.
A little youthiness comes through to keep it a little hot. We'll see if maybe cutting it with a little water might help in that regard. But the youthiness is not a primary note here. The primary note is definitely MGP candy rye, and there is just tons of like kind of a fruity sweetness, like a candy fruity to me. I think it's I think it's real good.
This is where it sucks. I like what I taste, but I wish I could taste more.
Yeah.
But I'm better. Much better than last week. Much better than last week. Yeah, it's just a bummer. Like there's like it's just weird. I can't even explain. Like it's like I don't know. It's like you're partially blind. It's just like I can't call out everything I see. That's just weird.
Taste blind. There's one more note that I forgot. I was fumbling around trying to see if I could remember it earlier, but third sip now, kind of there is a little bit of dill. It's like a sweet.
I can see that.
It's like a sweet dill in there. It's not a sharp, spicy dill. It's a sweeter dill. Yeah.
But not my favorite rye note, but a good rye note.
It is it's also not my favorite rye note, but like when it's done well, I appreciate it. And I think, dang, that's cool. It's one of those dill ryes. One of those.
I just added some water.
Woo. Yeah, I'm trying to add 1 drop. There we go. Did you go wrong pipe there or what?
I exhaled too much through one nostril and felt like I probably shot out It's Not Rocket Out or something like that.
Nice. Tune in on YouTube, everybody.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see in the play-by-play later. Maybe I'll make that our cold close.
Nose with water is creamier. It's got like a frosting creamy thing going on the nose now to me. Still sugary, definitely sugary.
Yeah, I agree with that creaminess. It mixes with the candiness to be like a cream saver or something like that. But in a weird way, it kind of fits. You remember those old candies? Cream saver
totally.
Candy? Yeah. So it's kind of like creamy and yet still fruity candy. But I can't say it's like orange or raspberry or whatever. But it is an interesting texture.
Yeah. I poured a tiny pour for my first pour, so I'm gonna pour a good bit more here and go neat again. Into my, I'll give it one or two more neat sips before I throw an ice cube in here. But yeah, it is as with the Mizunara, the Mizunara doesn't impart too much of a distinct finish on its own. And I mean, in general, I'm not, this isn't notes about this whiskey. In general, Mizunara is more of a taming and a subtle, I don't know, probably creaminess, I guess, kind of in line with French oak, in my opinion. But you hear that this is a finished rye. I would almost I would hate for somebody to have the wrong expectation when they go into this thinking that they're going to get a rye with a lot of finished flavors.
Yeah, it's subtle.
This sticks to traditional rye flavors.
Yeah,
but the finishing that was done to it was an effort to marriage a couple different components together and make it have a nice, smooth consistency all around. Smooth. It's smooth. Dang it, I said it.
Smooth. Give me an idea of your legs on this John piece. Because I'm getting like similar to what we talked about with that more recent one, where like the legs took a while to drop.
Yeah. I swirled it. There we go. It took a good 15 seconds for legs to start coming down now. It's pretty oily.
Not that means anything, but
I mean, I don't know if it literally means that it's higher in wood oils content. I don't know. That's what
maybe
I
it's less in wood oils.
Maybe.
I don't like it as much with the ice.
Okay.
But seriously, people, do not take any credibility to what I'm saying right now. But it's
Cole. Maybe somebody out there has COVID and has a bottle of Raconteur Rye.
I trust him.
And they need your COVID notes on Raconteur.
They're like, I'm gonna wait until my COVID symptoms are over and then I'll drink it. Yeah. At least for the ice pour.
Also, why this is a 2-person podcast.
We would have taken a hiatus if not.
Yeah, right. Dude, I'm digging the ice nose. Is that in stark contrast to what you just said, actually?
No, I said I didn't like the palate on the ice. It's just not as good. It's little, from what I got, it was a little bitter and a little too spread out on the sugar, and a little bit synthetic on the finish.
The ice nose has surprised me the most out of all this. I'm getting tons of leather and oak age on the nose with ice. A little bit of floral here with the ice too. It's very like lighter honey floral and then oak leather. It's got a very, very fun nose with ice.
Oh, cool. Now let me know how it tastes. He's gonna agree with me.
Immediately, it's a little medicinal with the ice. It is, finishes a little bitter.
Totes. I'm not
rye
crazy.
characteristics I love are gone
yeah,
with ice.
That's my thought. It's like that sugary sweetness and that like beautifully candiness is definitely gone. Yeah. But you don't have to drink it with ice, everyone. You can drink it however you freaking want. So
drink it however you want it, except if that's with ice, then do not.
Yeah, then you're gonna regret it. Trust me. Yeah.
I am sipping this again now, neat, after some technical difficulties.
Yes.
That were hopefully edited out. So I'm sipping it neat again, and I'm getting one last fruity note, like a banana note. I'm getting a little banana runts off of this, which I think is super fun.
I dig banana runts. I'm not getting it.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. All in all, like my sentiment about this is it is a MGP candy rye that is, I mean, it's just exactly what you think an MGP candy rye should be. If there was a primary negative feedback that I could give about this is that I think it does come off a little youthier. There is a little more ethanol burn about on the timeline of the sip. It rolls in about timeline 5. And it does last through the finish, and it detracts a little bit from the finish. But I'll tell you, timeline 1 to 5 is just like the whole time for the first half of the sip, you're like, yes, this is exactly what I love out of an MGP rye. So I do like this. I do think it's very tasty. I think that if there was a way to mellow out that ethanol that I get mid palate, it would really elevate this to be one of my favorite ryes because I freaking love MGP ryes. As it stands for now, though, I think I'm going to peg this at a B-, which for me, the B- category is good. And it has more pros than cons. And it has positive, memorable features. For me, the positive, memorable features being really nice fruit and candy rye MGP-ness.
Nice.
Penis. I said penis. Dang it.
Penis.
I can't believe that happened.
MGP.
God, dude, the MGP-ness on this one is just delicious.
My goodness, penis. Yeah, that's great.
All right.
I love that. I'm probably going to cold open with that.
Perfect. We have many cold open selections for you on this episode.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, not going to rate it this time. I did like what I tasted, but don't want to give a solid rating when COVID's really taken my palate to some extent. So, but what I did try was what I liked. So, so you've tried batch 1. How does batch 1 compare?
Well, I took the world's smallest sip of batch 1 in order to see if I liked it enough to buy a bottle, which, by the way, I should have just held this up earlier. I don't know what I'm doing. I do own a bottle of this.
Wait, you've literally just drank the neck pour only? That's self-control, dude.
I haven't even opened this, sir.
Nice. Oh, what? How did you get your taste? Wait, is that batch 2? The one you're holding batch 2? Okay, gotcha.
The one I'm holding is batch 2. Yeah. What happened was thanks to some supportive members of the community, you and I both have a batch 1 sample in the pool.
That's right.
And all signs point to Brian's going to love this. So when this went on sale, I was like, I need to know if I need to buy one. And I whipped out the batch 1 sample and cracked it and just took like a tiny sip off the top. And I was like, hell yeah, this is great. I love it. Totally worth a bottle. So I did go ahead and grab one.
Though.
Yeah. Well, so I don't have any real notes. I don't remember what that batch 1 actually tasted like.
But it was worth buying. Yeah.
Yeah. I just remember being like, dang, I like this. I think it's, it's MGP rye like I like. So I ended up getting the batch 2. Given my rating of batch 2, I don't regret having a bottle. I think it's delicious. I'm going to keep drinking it. And it does stand out in my collection. But I just do I hope that future batches are a little more elevated. I think there's room to grow. It could grow into something real nice.
I mean, what it reminds me of a little bit, what you're talking about is, very similar was Delbox Sentinel. Their first batch was an older MGP rye, and then their second batch was a younger MGP rye, and it was notably different to me.
Yeah, me too. And Sentinel Rye batch 3 is on shelves now. I don't know if you knew that.
Is it? Okay.
Yep.
I
It's
wonder
here at Total Wine.
what homeboy Mark Viertaler did with the batch 3.
Yeah.
If he got an older rye again, because it was noticeable to me. Yeah.
We can ask him when we go down.
Darn right, man.
Hopefully he's there. Hopefully he comes in on a
Yeah.
Sunday to come hang out with us.
Yeah. As everyone should. It's Whiskey Church. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that we've given our ratings, or at least one rating, we're going to send it over to our next segment of the show, a segment that we like to call Whiskey World News.
All right, welcome back. This is Whiskey World News, and today I'm not going to read an article. We are just going to chat about some upcoming releases that you sent me, and I'm curious if you remember this now.
Nope.
So there's some news on upcoming Abraham Bowman releases.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I knew you'd remember.
There's like 3 of them, too.
I know there are 3 of them. Okay, so check this out.
David.
I know, yeah. Well, okay, so we got to go through Sazerac, right?
Normally. But I might reach out to David. He might take care of us.
Yeah. You might just drive on down the road a little ways and maybe just knock on the door and maybe he's right there. Yeah. Maybe they're selling A. Smith Bowman Cast Strength Batch 2.
Which they do apparently. Yeah. Sometimes, rarely.
So anyway, Abraham Bowman is their, experimental line. Very each bottling is very unique. And the upcoming releases here. Well, so first off, the most recent one that we did on the show with David Bach was batch 23, and it was the French oak version.
Okay.
So batch 24 is going to be American oak, continuing the oak series. Now, for some reason, they skip batch 25.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that.
No, yeah, some people brought it up.
Okay, yeah. So no info on 25, but 26, continuing the oak series, is Hungarian oak, not Virginian oak.
That's the best funny. Of oak.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they would have had to bottle that or barrel that a long time ago. Yeah. So yeah, we got American oak, we got Hungarian oak, and then now for the third one that they announced is the Abraham Bowman rye whiskey.
But didn't he say while we were there that was their first batch of rye that we drank? So maybe here's what it is. It's probably is that the rye actually came from Buffalo Trace.
Oh,
but their own rye will be to be future released.
Yeah, because that was new make. We drank the new make rye, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we were at the big
it was underage. So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that rye whiskey though. Rye whiskey is at 110 proof.
Nice.
And it is doing the math. It is 11 years old.
Whew.
Yeah, right.
Love me an 11-year-old rye at
11-year-old 110. Yeah. The Hungarian oak looks like it is 13, almost 13 years.
Nice.
And it's 115 proof. That sounds delicious.
And it's bourbon?
It is bourbon, correct.
Nice.
And then that American oak is also bourbon. It is 12. Yes, 12 years old. And, wow, it's 135 proof on the American oak one.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, they get some hot stuff over at A. Smith Bowman sometimes, so that doesn't
surprise
me too much.
And now I feel like they don't release the Abraham Bowmans too frequently, right? This has got to be
Abraham this is Bowmans crazy. For the next it's usually once a year, if not more, because even if you remember when I was talking on that episode to David Bach, I was like, hey, why has it been 3 years since you put out an Abraham Bowman? And he's like, oh, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I didn't remember that.
Calling me out.
Anyway, my memory is not the best, but anyway, exciting things from Abraham Bowman. And by the way, I did see on a release calendar that the cast strength A. Smith Bowman cast strength number 4 is getting 4? Yeah, right. Yeah, number 4. Yeah, is getting
sense. Yeah,
released.
3 was the only one, or was the first of the 3 that was under hazmat. Yeah,
correct. Batch 4 comes out in December.
Perfect time to come visit Virginia.
Absolutely. And actually, it's just, I think almost exactly 1 year after the last batch. So I wonder if that's just always going to be a December thing or what. I'm not sure.
Wasn't it? Maybe it was that time. Yeah, because we did our episode in like late August or late April.
And
that was
was
after
for
the
the
release. Yeah,
French oak. Yeah,
that's right. That's what it was. So yeah, Cash Strength came out earlier. French Oak came out in April.
And he was just gracious enough to let us review that.
Dude, that guy was gracious. Let's just say that.
So
we got to try Sweet 16. Just saying.
I know, man. That was insane.
That was so good. I'm glad we got to try that one.
Wish our audio was better on that episode.
We'll figure it out next time.
Lessons were learned, though. But anyway.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What whiskey would you choose, sir? We asked all y'all on Instagram. It's Scotch night. What you pouring? And between Cole and Mai's responses, so mine was Gordon MacPhail, 13-year Kalila. Cole was Ardbeg Hypernova, and Cole won.
You know what I call that, Brian? I call that a McPhail for Brian. No kidding.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, people saw the name McPhail and they were like, "Nah, I ain't voting for that." Cole won 60% to 40% in favor of Ardbeg Hypernova. Mm-hmm. Everybody loves a good Ardbeg committee release.
We got some great write-ins though.
We did, and I always love when we get
one of them
write-ins.
wasn't a Scotch. Well, two of them weren't a Scotch.
Oh, really? I haven't looked through them yet. I'm gonna read them. I'm coming in hot here.
One of them knew that it wasn't a Scotch, and the other one I don't think understood that it wasn't a Scotch.
Oh,
or I think they understood, but they didn't read it right, or something like that.
Yeah.
So let's run them up.
Yes. Well, thanks to everybody who wrote in. Always love it when I go to take screenshots of the responses and I have to actually scroll because there's so many responses. So anyway, we got Embellish Pod. Colonel John Hughes. He said, last night was found North Batch 5 and Batch 10. Okay.
So that's the one I think he didn't understand that we were talking Scotch only.
Yeah. Maybe he just saw what you pouring, and he was like, "Well, here's what I had last night."
Mm-hmm.
So Paul Clarkson wrote in. He said, "Aberlour Abuna."
Yeah, Abuna, baby.
Not behind me. I would have pointed it out, but it's in a cabinet over there.
I thought of buying one today. It was only $100 at ABC store.
100
is normally a little higher than that. Yeah.
Buy price for sure. Yeah, it's waffled in price here, but it's been holding steady at 120 here. But anyway, 100 is good buy price.
It is.
We got whiskey drinking pandas. So pandas are pouring on Scotch night. Balblair.
No,
never heard that. Balblair 15.
Yeah.
Solid pour, not breaking the bank. Easy to find.
Nice.
Madtown marketer Ben Klepsik wrote and he said, he sent a picture and it's Boonahaben, but I can't see the year because I didn't click on the picture. I'm gonna have to.
Now you got to check it out. Here, I'll do it while you talk about the next ones.
Perfect. Dramhound wrote in, and Dramhound says Middleton very rare. Dang, he's balling out. As close to Scotch as he'll get, he says.
Yeah.
Dramhound did admit to us the other day that he is allergic to Scotch. You know, he had medical tests run, and they did confirm that he is allergic to Scotch.
So, for those that don't know, Middleton very rare is an Irish whiskey.
Yes, very good, very good. Thanks for pointing that out. And Cole, you're gonna have to look at another picture too, because Low Class High Proof sent a picture also. Love the pictures. Please send the pictures. I just failed at actually clicking on it. But
that is Glenallachie.
I don't know. That how it's pronounced?
Tenure. Yeah, I don't know. I might be wrong.
Oh no, yeah, no, I don't know. I've definitely seen this before, but in my head, I always say Glenallachie.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, it could go either way. But for the record, Ben Klepsig's is Boonahaven 18 year.
18, man, I was gonna guess 12.
Baller.
He's pouring good stuff on Scotch night over here. Kilted 518 Miles Ferguson, he says it's always Scotch night. Exact opposite of Dramhound.
Yeah,
it's always Scotch night. Depends on the mood. I could go from a smoky Isla to a mellow Speyside. He's all over.
And
the board.
He misspelled Speyside, but I think that was an accident because I know that Miles knows how to spell Speyside.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. But maybe it's a stylistic choice. You know, instead of saying "hey" when people say "hey," maybe he's saying Speyside. All right,
funny.
Broaska Testwasser wrote in. He said, Springbank 15.
Nice.
A lot of people pouring some really good scotches here. I keep ending up with bottles at great prices. Got to keep cracking them open. Shout out to people who open great bottles that they get at great prices.
Yeah. Totally.
Fish and Sips. He says Highland Park cast strength on a cube.
Good choice.
Oh, yeah. That's also a good choice for a cube in your. If you're going to put a cube in your whiskey, Highland Park's cast strength's a good one. Yeah. And lastly, here we got Marco and AZ. He says Ardbeg Ugadal, and I've heard so many good things about that, and I still have yet to try that. So, Mark, when you come to the bottle share on Saturday, October 26th, or whatever the Saturday is, bring Ardbeg Ugadal to the bottle share, please, for me.
Yeah, do it.
Maybe
I'll bring my Korvrecken. Because I like Korvrecken more than Ugadal, but I feel like Korvrecken was recently like discontinued. So maybe I'll hold on to it for a while or something like that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So I got a question for you now, though.
Yeah.
The question is, shout out to Cole for coming up with this question.
It came to me like a dream.
Yeah, during a dream. Cole says, if you're going to start up a distillery, where are you starting your distillery? What geographical impacts do you want on your barrel as they
terroir?
Yes. What is your terroir of your location? So Cole, where are you at geographically?
So there's a lot of places I can go with this. You could go the classic, the Kentucky. Excuse me. You can go Kentucky. You can go somewhere where, it's just hot enough, but not too hot to where, the classics are made. But you can go north and you could age longer. Somewhere like Found North where you're getting like Canadian juice that's like can go longer without being over oaked. Or you can go down south to somewhere like Tucson or Americus, Georgia, where you're getting a little more impact from the aging. And my answer is I am going to go to Phoenix because one, I love Phoenix. Two, it's very hot and it would have quite the impact on the aging of the barrels. But also like from what we've figured out, like especially places like Americus, Georgia with 13th Colony is like, you're not overaging it. It's just hitting it harder. And that's something, and I would do like bourbon or something like that, or maybe bourbon and rye in Phoenix and really get an idea with full barrels, not half barrels. I'm not talking about small barrels. I'm talking about full barrels. I would love to see what the impact of full barrel American whiskey has with the impact from Phoenix heat and Phoenix humidity. So
nice. I'm so relieved that you chose south because I am choosing north.
Ooh, do tell.
So I want to go stable, cool climate. Okay. Because I want to age long and I want to maintain lower ABVs.
So Wisconsin?
Yeah, you know what? There's enough
Madison, Wisconsin.
There's a great whiskey scene in Wisconsin, so I'm going to go Wisconsin. Yeah.
I love it.
I'm going to join the Wisconsinites whiskey scene. Nope. Definitely not. Definitely not. You don't
yeah, I've never lived there. Yeah.
Wisconsinese because it rhymes with cheese.
It does rhyme with cheese. Actually, you got a point there. Maybe they should change it.
Yeah.
Wisconsinese cheese.
Anyway, that's just even more for me because I love cheese. So,
dude, you would love Madison. That'll be our next meetup is going to be in Wisconsin.
It's got to be. But anyway, I'm sticking with the cool because, like in Scotland, a lot of old scotches, those ABVs don't really rise very much just due to that geographic location. So lately, I've been digging a lot of lower proof, higher age stuff. So that is
something like the old Eagle Rare 17s.
I know. Definitely been digging that.
Yeah. Love me some Eagle Rare 1790 proofers.
Yeah.
That's good. What are some examples of some higher age, low proofs you've been enjoying?
So, okay, not a very fun example, but like I did not like Weller 12 at all like a year ago. I mean, I thought it was okay, but I thought it was just like bland and whatever.
But appley, man. It's
totally It's totally grown on me. Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, really digging that. You know, and even like the Kings County stuff where like they're lower
Mhm.
proof, like their peated bourbon and stuff. I've been
Mhm.
really just enjoying stuff that doesn't just kick me in the teeth as soon as I
Yeah.
sip it. Yeah.
There's something to be said about a sub, hundo proofer that is well aged and
Oh,
has got the flavor. So here's my thing is like, what is it? The tin cup, 14
yeah.
year and 10
Yeah.
year are just like incredible to me. So good.
Yeah. I'm like,
So good.
what's on my featured shelf that's
Mhm.
low proof?
Ooh, I
And
see a
I
nice high proofer up there in the Ace Smith Bowman cast strength right there. I
yeah,
didn't
I know,
notice it
right?
before.
Yeah, yeah. I
Is that batch
cannot
two?
believe yeah, batch 2, the 144.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. But I can't believe the first words out of my mouth weren't Michter's 10 bourbon. Goodness
Mm,
gracious.
dude,
Just like blows my mind.
so good this year. Like,
Yeah,
didn't know it could ever be that good this year.
I know, right?
Yeah. No, it was so good. Yeah, talk about it. It's
Yep.
like 92.6 or whatever, or something like that.
Right.
94.6.
So
I forget. Yeah.
flavorful for such
Mhm.
low proof.
Yeah.
So good.
100%. Yeah. All right. Well, next
Ooh,
week, we know what we're
yeah,
drinking next week.
we
Go
do.
ahead, Brian. Tell them. Tell the listeners.
I will show the YouTube viewers right here. We're drinking this Found North Batch 10. You know what? We were talking the friggin' Whiskey World News the other day.
Yeah.
I was talking about this and I read the email that they sent out about this. And
Mm-hmm.
man, I probably said batch 8 like 3 times
Because it's an
because
8 year.
yes, like every time I
Yeah.
went to like mention it, I kept seeing the 8 prominently featured in the middle
I
of the
didn't
bottle
catch
and I kept saying
anything.
batch 8. But anyway, yeah, Found North Batch 10 is what we're
Yeah.
drinking, and we are interviewing Nick Taylor. So
Yep.
here in the next day or so, I'm going to put out an
Yeah.
Instagram question. Would
Yep. For sure.
love some questions from all y'all. If you want us to ask Nick Taylor a question, please write it
Yep.
in because we would love
Please.
to give you a shout out and ask your question on the show.
Mhm. I hope that our listeners will reach out, and I hope they enjoyed the drink along from yesterday.
Yeah. Well, I hope that Emma will fall asleep tonight and actually sleep through the night. And I hope she never leaves home again because I hope I never have to go through this again today.
I hope that we get Green Corner with Emma when I'm there.
Yes. I hope we do too.
But most of all, listeners, viewers, all of our friends, we hope that our love of whiskey lifted your spirits. That's too bad.
Ski boppity blah, 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 blah. I'm a scat man.
Fee, da, 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 da.